I'm going to talk to you about the European sawmill industry hardwood market, about the current picture in the different countries that are in the EOS. For sharing the market data with you, I'm more focusing on the production and the markets in our countries. The export side was very well explained by Michael, as he also already flipped in as well some European data. You can see that, of course, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the EOS hardwood production decreased by estimated 20% in hardwood lumber in the EOS countries. We expect to have it back plus 10% in comparison to 2020 in the year 2021. I'm going into detailed numbers here. You see that from 2016 to our estimated numbers 2021, we always had a production from 2016 to 2019 of about 5.5 million cubic meters. It's going to drop 2020 to around 4.3 million cubic meters. The most significant differences are in the countries Austria, Belgium, France, Latvia, and a huge crash in Romania, actually. We all have, as you see, we think that, for example, Germany, they maybe slightly overestimated their production in 2020. We're going to see in a few weeks. But as well, we hope that Romania is also a bit underestimating the drop down to 900,000 cubic meters, which would lead in a slight recovery of the market by the end of the year. So as you see, we're going to smooth out at around 4.5 million cubic meters by the year 2021. When it comes now to the EOS hardwood export data, I can report that in 2020, in the first half of 2020, it sharply declined to most overseas destinations. The US, unlike in the softwood sector, did not experience a demand increase for the European hardwood, and Asian countries, also such as Vietnam and China, as well as the MENA markets, they have subdued their demand. So lower demand leads to lower production, of course, with the huge problem, which I can just copy and paste from Michael, that we need to consume our lumber as well in our own countries and not export them for the largest part. The strong euro added to the added difficulties to the hardwood exporters, as if you invoice in US dollars, then it's going to be very hard for the Chinese and Vietnamese clients to accept your prices. So it's then the decision of the selling price. So how are now the different sectors in the US countries? First, I want to report about the furniture production. The value of the EU 27 and UK wood furniture production was 42.5 billion euros in 2019, which is 1.4% less than the previous year. And it seems that the rebound in EU wood furniture production following the 2008 economic crisis peaked as early as 2017. And as 2019 was the second straight year of decline in the COVID-19 pandemic has damaged market prospects in 2020. We saw that in Austria that a lot of stores that were closed down during the lockdown. We now entered yesterday the second lockdown for now 3 weeks. So all the stores are closed, which is going to have an impact again on production, which is going to have an impact again on consumption. So we're not going to get the demand we need to boost the furniture production. Looking at the flooring industry, the PARQUET industry, they report a stable production. The official statement of the FEP gives a mixed picture. They have a current upsurge of the pandemic and the new measures which are taken throughout Europe, which creates uncertainties for the future. But nevertheless, for the year 2020, they report or forecast a stable production or consumption on the European markets compared to 2019. And this is also then, that relies then also on the national packages, I guess, or not only, I guess, I'm sure, and the public funds that are opened for building. I want to give you some qualitative data, more or less a COVID-19 update, to put it like this. We had a small hardwood talk within the US countries, and I want to go through that, that you have got an insight into the countries. So when it comes to Austria, when we look at the main species, oak, ash, and beech, we can report that the oak sector is, or the oak species is still a species that is with high demand. The logs availability is not bad, so we can buy logs and we can sell good qualities and lower qualities. Although the lower qualities which go into the export markets, such as Vietnam, struggle a bit because of pandemic crisis. The ash sector is much more difficult. We had and have a very high export of logs, which makes it overall very hard to position lumber and to sell again the lower qualities of the lumber. In the beech sector, we observe a lower production and also lower consumption compared to the last year of around 20%. Fresh logs are available, but still now due to the second lockdown, people ask foresters not to go into the woods, not to put themselves into danger, that they're not blocking any hospital places or intensive care places. So I think we're facing as well a log supply topic. The furniture anyway is recovering after some extremely difficult months. The lower grades, as reported before, are exported to Asia, but the situation is challenging. They want to buy at a lower price, where we have to resist, to be honest, to sell at a lower price and to just keep the inventory. Yeah. Denmark. In Denmark, in spring, the people were pessimistic. Expectations for the year were very negative. However, during the last months, the Corona crisis, as impacted by the Corona crisis, has been better than expected, with relatively resilient demand. In contrast with many other crises, the furniture market has also been lively. The report from France, the high quantities of oak logs are being shipped to China. When it comes to production, companies focused on the UK did not have big problems, but inventories are high. The demand has slowed down in September in France and Europe, with added value products doing better though. Overall, the demand in Asia is low. In the beech sector, exporters that managed to be opportunistic are still doing okay. They managed to move the orders from Asia to North Africa or vice versa. The situation is not easy, and there's a weak demand for lower grades. The ash sector is, just as in other European countries, has troubles as huge quantities of ash logs are being shipped to Vietnam, and selling lumber is difficult. When it comes to Germany, the shutdown of the furniture shops was complete. All production closed down as well. The workers were sent into holidays, and the situation overall is and was very difficult for the hardwood sector. Asian markets are challenging. The EU markets reopened in July, small carpenters were very busy. It's a very topsy-turvy and unpredictable market. That was the statement from Germany. It is very difficult to say what will happen in just a few weeks. Again, beech and ash logs, the exports of beech and ash logs to China and Vietnam, they cost quantities in lumber. Profits all in all are lower, costs went up, and at the end of the year, the results will be very negative, and some hardwood mills even might have to close. The production is expected to be lowered by about 20%, as reported in the slides before. And in 2021, maybe it will further lower by 5%, although we hope that it's a bit overestimated. Big inventories are a problem, and ash production will probably reduce by 40 to 50%. The market picture of Romania. In the hardwood sector, which makes up 2/3 of the Romanian sawmill industry, the situation is very difficult. They do have a declining demand for lumber from China and Middle East. A decrease by 30% of production is expected in 2020. During the summer, the supply of logs was very tight, as half of all the harvesting companies have closed down and looked for opportunities in other businesses. China and the Middle East are trying to push down prices, and as the statement from Romania, it is better in this situation for sawmills not to sell and wait out for some more months. So all in all, we see that all the US markets, they had to adapt to the exports of the lumber, meaning to reduce their production. But when it comes to long-term opportunities, we need to see that we do have a remarkable increase in beech availability that is expected in the next 20 years in Europe. And as well, the oak species will be rising in the long term due to climate change. So just as Michael said before, we need to create the demand on what nature gives us, and this is what we need to focus for sure. So to sum up the small production overview in the US countries, we have to say that the softwood sector did, of course, better than, or not of course, but the softwood sector did better than the hardwood sector due to the construction markets in Germany and Scandinavia and the strong DIY. But my hope here is that after building a house, you need to decorate and put your bed and cabinets into a house. So there could be the chance for the hardwood markets and hardwood lumber producers. The hardwood sector was weak due to the strong impact on the furniture sector and the difficulties in export markets, which is still on the table. High quantities of roundwood, meaning of logs, are exported to China and as well to Vietnam. And I know that log traders do not want to hear that, but this is a serious problem for all over Europe. It's a serious problem for the workforce and for our wealth in Europe, basically. So as well, the raw material quality issue that is still on the table. There's the drought in central Germany that is damaging the beech trees. We have got the oak bugs. We have got the ash dieback, which all are facts or reasons that sometimes logs are exported, but still we could use them inside Europe. So what should be now the long-term opportunities, or better said, the positive outlook? We've got a long-term increase of availability of hardwood, as shown in the graph before, due to the climate change. We need to develop new markets for hardwoods. Research and developments are important. We have got the great example of AHEC in the US that do a great job on promoting their species. So we need to do that for our European species as well. We have to have wood products that are increasingly recognized as a solution to fight climate change. We have to have people see the nature, and as we talked before, or as we heard before, if something looks like it's wood, it doesn't have to be always wood or lumber. So we have to communicate that better. And as well, I can report that from Austria, a lot of floors, you cannot make a difference. Is that now a wooden floor or is it vinyl floor? So we have to put our focus on that people see lumber. So all in all, we need to promote our European hardwood better because, yeah, the main market for European lumber should be Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. That was excellent. A really good overview of the whole of Europe there. So clearly the hardwood sector has been hit quite differently to the softwood sector during the same period, and there's a whole range of things there. How important is the furniture industry, would you say, and the furniture production in Europe for the hardwood sector?
Of course, very important, because we use the European lumber in the furniture industry, but if we start using panels and veneer on top, we're going to lose these markets. So we need to work on that. Very important. Yeah.
Okay. Just on a couple of things about the species coming through in Europe, and you mentioned there that the oak species are actually doing very well, and that we're going to have an increase there, which is probably the main species which gets specified anyway in most markets. But with just to draw the comparison again with softwood, we've got a big problem of bark beetles across the whole softwood, across spruce forests across Europe, and it's growing. There's a lot of places that seem to be saying they will not plant spruce again because of this, and they want either mixed species or they're looking at other forms of plantation and other species. Is that a good opportunity, do you think, for the hardwood sector, even though it's a long-term opportunity?
The problem of the bark beetle was on one side as well a problem now for the log situation that we have, that people are concentrating on harvesting all the spruce that is damaged by the bark beetle and cannot cut hardwood logs anymore. When it comes to the reforestation, it is important, and there is various projects going on the European level. What is the best mixture to plant, or the best species in the mix to plant in the forest, and to have a good consultation here, because we need to see what the climate and what the soil needs in a certain region, and need to adapt to that.
Okay.
And not to have monocultures, of course.